being too self-aware and being self-aware was the best and the worst thing that happened to me. But there's just questions that I ask myself that make me wonder, like, is being too self-aware keeping me completely isolated from the world? And thinking that it's just a big question in itself, because like I say, like, I can't necessarily go out and see my friends as much anymore. I can't go and do the stuff they enjoy. I have to see them in almost like doses of chilled out, mellow, on my wavelength sort of things. And I'm lucky enough to have a massive friend group, and a friend group that I've known since I was a baby, and I love them to death, to be honest. And it's hard not being able to go and do the things that they want to do as well, because I don't enjoy it as much. And self-awareness is probably the key to that, and self-awareness is probably why that's got me to where I am in this situation. So, like, I ask myself, at what point does self-awareness stop being growth and start being self-sabotage? Because I feel like I grow as a person, and being on my own, in my own head constantly, makes me think about a lot of things, and a lot deeper than a lot of people would, and go into certain things a lot deeper than a lot of people would, you know. But at what point is having that isolation and not being around people I love, and not being able to enjoy myself as much as people, actually a hindrance or a self-sabotage in a way? Like, am I actually evolving, or am I thinking everything to death, you know? And there's another question I ask myself, is like, do I understand myself better than any other person, or do I just isolate myself more? How much of what I think about myself do I think is true, you know? Do I see clearly, or am I just trapped in my own perceptive? I don't know, because I think pretty clearly, but then I also think that I really don't, and maybe being on my own doesn't help that at all. You know, maybe just relaxing a little bit and letting my mind just sort of do and act on the first thing that I think about, maybe that's much more positive to me and much more beneficial to me than going so deep into everything. Because going deep into certain subjects is so good, and you can really get what you want out of a subject, but on a natural basis, it's just isolation, really. And I like to think that I'm pretty good at reading people, and reading the room, and reading everything just from being self-aware. Is that just my own perception I'm putting onto them? Like, am I just looking through my own lens of my eyes and believing exactly what's going through my head, and putting my perception onto people I see to make myself feel like I'm smart? And that just leads to the question, like, would I be, and would everything be easier and happier for me if I was just more oblivious to a situation? And that goes for a lot of people. Maybe the people that suffer most in life are the ones that just think too much and are in their own head too much. And maybe being oblivious is maybe the key to having a happy life after all. And like, with self-awareness, why does me understanding people more make me want to be around them less? That's just how it is, really. Like, the more I understand someone, and the more I get a sort of inkling of something that I don't completely click with, even though I might click with 90% of their things, and if I get something that I 10% don't click with, and because I understand them that deeply, like, I just feel disconnected instantly, and just don't want to be around them as much. Like, do I feel alone because others don't get me, or do I feel alone because I don't get them, you know? And you'd think, right, being in your own mind constantly, you'd trust yourself more and trust your initiative. But like, if I'm constantly overthinking everything, do I generally trust myself, or do I completely not trust myself in a way, because I completely question everything that I see, that I know, that I hear? And again, brings me back to the question, is that just self-sabotage or growth? What one is it? And it leads me on to like a dark side of self-awareness, really. Like, can self-awareness become a form of control, or a form of fear? And maybe that's true. Like, maybe relationships I have, and maybe I can't necessarily make great new friends because I know exactly how I want to be and how I want things to be. And is that just control, or is that just fear of getting out of the way of who I am, and stepping out of line with who I am with myself? Like, who knows, you know? And like, does that lead me to avoiding situations because I've already played them out in my head, you know? But along with like all the negative stuff that I'm probably talking about, like, there's so many positive things. Like, pattern recognition, like how many bad situations have I avoided or bad people have I avoided because I've just instantly known their patterns and what they do, and sort of stayed away from it. But don't get me wrong, like I have ignored patterns as well and got myself into very, very dark situations and very stressful situations in a way. So it doesn't always go to my plan, really. What the hell? But yeah, like pattern recognition is a massive one. Like, how many times have I saved myself due to that? And having this is almost like a blessing, because a lot of people will be so oblivious that they'd never understand this part of life. But is it a blessing that I've got, that I can see both sides? And maybe if I found a happy medium and a happy balance between things, maybe it could be borderline like a superpower, or maybe I just have an edge that people don't have. And I know there's a few friends that are similar to me in a lot of these ways, like a few close friends of mine that I grew up with, and started trying to be successful in life with, and stuff that that are doing very well now, that I love to bits and so happy for them. I know a few of them think like me, and like one person in particular, shout out Joe. We used to have a lot of good conversations like this, and a lot of stuff that I relate to life comes back to a lot of conversations I had with him, and also shout out my friend Ryan. They're both doing well in their respects massively. Like Joe's flying away with a company, with another one of my friends, doing so well. I'm so glad for that. And Ryan's doing what he always said, that he's in Thailand fighting Muay Thai, etc., and living a peaceful, happy life with his mind, and you know what, like both of them, there is no envy or no jealousy with that anywhere, because I know deep down that just pure love for them is like, that's all they ever wanted, that's all I ever wanted for them. And you know what I mean, my time will come. I don't know exactly what it is yet, and like I say, I overanalyze and overthink every single situation that I'm in, or anything that I try and do. I always overthink it and overanalyze it. But maybe maybe this is the path I'm on. Maybe talking about it maybe is gonna change my life, and maybe grab the attention of people. I don't know. I'm not gonna force anything. I don't force anything anymore. But yeah, just maybe finding that happy balance of understanding people, and understanding balance, and pattern recognition, and understanding every situation to a high level, but also having that other side of me that can just switch that off and be like, right, this is a situation where I need to be oblivious, and this is a situation where maybe my oblivious mind would benefit me so much more in this situation. And maybe finding the happy medium is the journey that I need to find in order to get successful in life.